Welcome, everyone. Find a seat. It's lovely to have you all. I'm so excited to see the folks here. I'm Kathy Kessler-Price. I'm a professor of voice here at Westminster Choir College of Rider University. And before we begin with our fabulous guest artist today, I'd like to also welcome you, our audience, here in Guild Chapel, as well as on live stream, our singers, our teachers, and our wonderful department chair. I'd like to give a nice round of applause, Margaret Cusack. Who makes all things happen for us here. And we are honored, or will be honored, when our provost can arrive, and I'll announce her later on. She's on her way from a meeting, but Donna Jean Fredine is supposed to join us if she possibly can. And now for our master class. I want to give you a little bit of background on our guest, and then we'll launch right into it. So tenor, I thought about that as I wrote that. Tenor Bryan Hymel, you know, you become your voice part.
Type, yeah.
Right? Soprano, Kathy Price. But in this case, great tenor Bryan Hymel received his undergraduate degree from Loyola University in his hometown of New Orleans, Louisiana, right? For all of you who've maybe been there and enjoyed that city. He also studied at the Academy of Vocal Arts in Philadelphia under Bill Schumann and was a participant in San Francisco Opera Center's Marilla program. I started with all that because I know a lot of you all are thinking about next steps, right? Where do you go to school? Where do you apply for young artist programs, et cetera? Since then, he has performed at most of the great opera houses of the world, such as the Metropolitan Opera in New York City, La Scala in Italy, Deutsche Oper Berlin in Germany, at Covent Garden for the Royal Opera House in London, where he returns next month to sing Tosca.
Yeah.
Tosca. The Washington National Opera at the Kennedy Center, an old stomping ground of mine, San Francisco Opera, Canadian Opera Company, Houston Grand Opera, Santa Fe Opera, and on and on and on and on and on. And he had a very early start to his career at the age of 19, winning a major competition. Hailed by the Frankfurter Allgemeine Zeitung, we're laughing over that particular reference, for his range, this is the quote, his range of expression and vocal power, which you will really hear when he demonstrates every now and then, combined with the subtle art of characterization. Tenor Bryan Hymel is the winner of the 2013 Olivier Award for Outstanding Achievement in Opera for his trio of performances in Les Troyens, Robert le Diable, and Rusalka at London's Royal Opera House, all in the same year. No,
Kind of crazy, yes.
Yes, all in the same year. The New York Times praised his, I love this quote, his unflagging stamina and impetuous abandon during his 2012 Metropolitan Opera debut as Énée in Les Troyens, for which he was presented with the Metropolitan Opera's Beverly Sills Artist Award. If you all don't know who Beverly Sills was, look her up, okay? He is the recipient of so many awards that it would take too long today to read all of them to you. And I could go on and on, but we want to hear from Mr. Hymel himself and, of course, our singers. But we very much also appreciate Professor Susan Ashbaker, who is graciously serving as our collaborative pianist today. And now join me in giving a warm welcome to our guest, Bryan Hymel.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Price, and to all you guys for being here. It's a different crew. I see some familiar faces from last week, but some new faces as well, so welcome. We're going to have a lot of fun here today and hear some good singing and hopefully have some aha moments where we can just be like, oh, maybe I've heard that a million times, but he said it a little bit differently at a turn of phrase. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And with that, we will start with a little Hansel and Gretel, yeah? Okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Isabel Schalbaum, and I will be singing Wo bin ich from Hansel und Gretel by Humperdinck.
Very, very nice. Scale of 1 to 10, how nervous?
Probably like a 5.
Okay. I feel like, I would agree. I think, just because I felt like, some things were like so, everything was great, right? But this da-da-da-da-da was so clean, I was like, I don't even know what to say. It's so clean and bell-like, that I'm not going to touch. What I did notice was that maybe you just weren't getting under your body, wasn't getting under your voice in the same way. I think particularly in the middle and the middle low, which is where this lies a lot, and then all of a sudden it pops up at the end. I think we could do a little bit better. I love the color that you found first with the Volbini, where am I, is this a dream, all this kind of stuff. And then once we get into the Hier lig ich, then we start singing, right? Then we need to make sure that we've got that. Can we just get in with the even one measure before that? And use your eyes more, like I want to look around because you're saying, where am I? Well, try to figure it out for yourself. Have I ever been to this place? No, I haven't. Okay, there we go. Breathe. No, you didn't even breathe. You didn't even breathe. I know that we have tidal breath in there, but that we don't need to have everything, and I'm certainly not an advocate for tanking up. That being said, I think the breath that we take for singing has to have the potency so that what comes out is stage worthy, right? So it's not Volbini. That's not going to go on the stage. Volbini. And then you've got enough air to go and not be like right? Because you've got to hear that those consonants are not going to travel with the same, projection that the vowel has if you don't go e. And with a masculine, you need even more. But let's just try one more time, right? Get a good breath. Breathe. I saw your shoulders go up, right? We don't need that. I know you're in a dress, and I know it's not all that kind of stuff, but give us like that kind of, just more like inner tube swimming, kind of donut thing, right? Okay. I'll take it. Keep going. You can't lose the height that you have there on the Vach, which you did so well, or else we're going to be like, what did she say there? I don't know. Just try with the Vach. Yeah, can you try this Vach? Just slide down on your air so that we keep the same column and the same freedom that you have on the Vach. Yeah, you did really well, and then when you got there, it's like your idea of what the ich is like too small. Fach, ich is what you're doing. Go fach, ich, I, right? One more time. I know you can do it. I think there's something in there, that either the glottal or something, you're trying to do it too much or be too careful. Let's just try one more time and we go on. Better. Go on. Same place. Good. And we go on. Good breath. Can we do the same thing? Do you feel how you're able to put more air through that when you keep the space down? Now, I'm not saying that when you sing this, you're going to portamento down like that, because you cannot. But what you can do is use it as a tool to be like, ah. Let's reverse this, right? Can we just do a siren? Just give us like a D. Ah. Yeah, now go a little bit higher. Sorry, I want you to start on the same pitch. No, it's my fault. I didn't really say it. But just start on the same pitch and let the air, and then as you're coming down, don't let it drop like what we're doing in here. Oh! You hear how as I come down, I'm trying to keep the same height. That's what makes it spin out there and what's going to get it past, especially in this middle voice. One more time. Keep it going. Yeah, it's like, you ever have like one of those like athletic elastic bands, right? Like the tension, can I touch you? It's like the tension is like this even when you're going down, right? It's not that you go like that and then all of a sudden it comes back. It's not a rubber band like that. That can work with the stretch when you're talking about, oh, how high do I stretch? And then you don't have to stretch so high. But that kind of sustained kind of, it's like saltwater taffy kind of thing. You pull it, okay, then you're going back, you take the breath, you go back. Can we do one more? And then as we go down, we make sure that we've got the air continuing to spill over. Great. Do it again and take twice as much air. Twice as much of a breath. You feel the difference? It's like if you're going to go with a bat or like a golf or something, you're kind of doing this, right? You're going, and then you're hoping to go right there. You can't. You've got to go easy and then let it go, right? If you don't pull the slingshot back to let it go, there's not enough momentum of the potency of the breath energy to get you to go, which is what we hear when we get to some of the higher stuff at the end. Let us, let's just keep going from where we are, because like last week I rushed a little bit, and I don't need to do that this week. So let's just go on from where we are. Good breath. You feel like that was better than the first time? Yes. It was, because you just had more potential, right? I'm talking about placement or any of these other kinds of things. If you don't let the tree, because we're talking about the trees here, right? If you don't let the tree bloom, if you don't water it, if you don't nurture it with the air and with all this kind of stuff and the intention, well, then we don't see where the voice can grow, so that once we see what we're talking about, we can then prune it back into the shape of what we want it to be for this aria. Can we do one more time from Vöglein? And really, so this is hard, right? These mixed vowels, that's like O and right? So you have to think that it's super duper the Vöglein, because that's the right shape, but it doesn't have enough height. So it doesn't travel. Can you let's find together Can you go a little bit higher? I like that was better than before, but now I'm like, oh, I hear there's more material there. You've given it a little more water and air. Good breath, let me hear. Yeah, now don't back off though, because you're going up, right? Vöglein, la, 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 la. It's got to have that space behind it on the consonants, right? And we go on for. Good breath here. Breathe once. Go. Good, breathe. Great. I know you can do better than that, but that was a lot. This was more secure. I don't want to go better, worse, and these kind of words that, oh, whatever. But it felt like it had more energy. It felt like it had more cushion under it. So which vowels are you thinking for Guten Morgen? That's tricky, right, on that G? So what are you going to go, which direction are you going to go to think of a vowel that has enough resonance to get to that B flat?
For Guten Morgen, I try to think of a more like an O
yeah.
sound. And
yeah.
Morgen, I'm trying to think of like a more
Yeah. Can I can hear when you speak it that you're saying it absolutely right, and then you're, for my taste, modifying it exactly the way you need to. Can we go right on that Gotten and take a good breath? You're kind of like, you know, here, if it's like a long jump thing, you're going like, you know what I mean? Like, I want you to just go like, yes, and I'm going to jump and I'm going to go, right? No hesitation. Because I'm so close to you, I can see it happening. Just go for it. Go to good morning. Come on. That has to feel better, right?
Much better.
I mean, freer.
Yeah.
Easier. Can we do that one more time and then we go on? You imagining yourself running and then jumping for good? Good. Do that. Better than I did. Great. You do that so cleanly, right? Can you do it with the same breath intensity that you do? Because what I won't, you know, it's one of these things like you hear somebody like a baritone come out, it's like, la, 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 la. No, this is not right. If you can't do it, if you can't do that, then you're not ready to do it. But you, now that you've shown us so much of your voice, we want your voice on all that. So you can still just give us a little bit more. I don't think it's so clean. There's no way you're not going to be able to do it. I know you can. Just give one measure before. Yes. Same thing. Can you imagine on the A, the huh, even though there's no pitch of that, imagine that the H does have the pitch of this A natural, right? So that we don't hear ha ha. One other thing that I could say, your L is getting you down. I can't see your mouth and your jaw, but I can hear that your space is collapsing for the L. So can I have that B flat to the F? D la 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 la. You hear I have an A behind it, and I'm just flipping my tongue in front of it. D la 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 la. Really, I'm thinking that I'm just singing an A with my tongue doing something that happens to be an L. You understand? Can we try that? D la. Good. Oh. Good breath, come on. Now, you kind of got it, but I want you to get good breath from the first one, right?
So no breath throughout?
It actually don't matter. It doesn't matter to me where you breathe in there, because it's a rest, whether you do it or not. Whatever's most comfortable for you, but I want to make sure that when you do breathe, there's no apology about that breath, that it's ha 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 ha, whatever. Just make sure that you got the energy. Same thing that we were dealing with on the L. You're doing it on your R a little bit. You understand? Just do that right there. Just slowly though, so you can actually feel the space. Do you feel in the consonant it kind of goes down a little bit? Can you try and see if you keep, maybe put your hand on your jaw under there and just see if you stop it from going up and blah, blah, blah. Do you hear the difference? You feel the difference? Do you guys hear the difference? It just sounds like one of those little birds. It's like, it's amazing, right? It's like, how are you doing that? It's a beautiful, beautiful effect. Can we try that just with your hand on your jaw and a little bit under tempo for the T-D-D-D-D. Good breath. Let's do it again with a good breath. But there's too many things to concentrate on once, right? But that space gives us this ethereal, like especially in a room like this, it's beautiful. It's really worth not closing down on. Good breath. Good. Now right, that's a perfect example. We don't hear it. Come on, we want. It's like one of those fountains. You ever see like there's a fountain and like, you know, it shoots water up in the air and it comes to a little dish, then a medium dish, then a really big dish, then the pond, right? We want the breath to keep spilling over. We never want it to stop and not have that gravity of taking it down, but also the spray that's going up first and then it comes down. Can we just think, go from the piano F sharps and then going up to the A. So that, and do you take a breath there? Or do you just come down?
I think I just come down, yeah.
Where do you breathe in there?
That's a great question.
If I were having to sing this, I probably would go Lee. Just try that to give yourself a little bit more, kind of frame of reference and margin for error as you get in the air to come down. Okay. No, that's not a real breath. That's not a stage-worthy breath. You can do it. Come on. You start us. That was great. And you didn't take the cut the first time. I was like, oh, she's not doing that cut in there. Or I got confused or something really quick. Listen, I don't think after hearing it again, you don't need to breathe after da, 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 da. But then you do breathe after, right? But you need to lead us because of this syncopation. Like, we're going to be here, but if you slow down, we think you're slowing down, it gets the momentum all off kilter. Let us go from ti-di-di-di-di so we can just get into this nicely. But please, with a real breath. And if you don't do it, I'm going to come up and I'm going to scare you till you make you breathe. Really have breathe. Okay, you start us. Okay, great. So you've got breathe. Ha ha. Great. Okay, fine. You can do those bell tones on each one of those to where it just kind of goes like that. Before you go to the D at the end, you've got to anchor into your body and your support for one, at least the last one, so that when you go up, you've got ah and not ha ha, because that's what we hear, right? We hear it becomes very light after what you've shown us you can do earlier. Can we, if we were to say, let's just start on like a G major down there, and I want you to go ah up to the D natural and then back down. So it's a siren all the way up. Well, you got to get a good breath. I'm not going to let you do anything without a good breath. Here we go. Faster, faster. Yeah, you see, what you did is you kind of went up and then you placed everything above it, right? You went oh. I can't go to a D right now, but you understand how the air goes faster, right? It's not oh. That hurts. It's tired. Oh. Get closer there. You know what? Try it one more time. Do this with your fingers. Good breath. Now faster. Yeah, you actually went over it that time because your momentum was going. Can we do it one more time? And actually, keep it not too fast right here. You don't need it that fast. You need to make sure that they get together. And as you feel you're getting higher and you need to do it faster, then you do it faster, right? Here we go. Faster now. Yeah, do you feel how it gets that parasail kind of thing in the back? So can we just go, just the last A's. Actually, you know what? Just as an exercise, I just want ah. But I want you to siren up there. And the point of that is keeping your space open, right? For now, we're going to do that. And then we'll go back and put ha, ha at the end, okay? So just ha. There you go. Sorry. There you go. Good breath, good breath. Oh, I need a 5 for that one. Yeah, that was good. So Can you now do it faster? Good breath and faster. Same slide though. Good breath. Great, so now can we do, get a massive breath, right? Right? And just go for it. I don't need staccato right now. I'd rather a great D than a staccato and just like, okay?
Just the siren.
Bop, 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 bop. It's fine, good. If you're catching yourself, I always say 1 or 2 things you can take away from a master class or something like that. One is that you just need to take enough breath, energy, and the other one I would say, let the air spill down and let the air spill up, right? Here we go. Good! Yeah, that was so good. Now do this. Breathe. Right? Come on. Give us some gas in the tank. We need something to go with here. This is not a hybrid, okay? Good. And you could have held it longer. I'm right here. I know you, but you're used to having held it only that long. One more? One more. And really, hold it as long as you can. If it starts to get tight, you can let go. But I want you to show yourself, and we're going to just happen to be here and observe it, what you can do when you take a really good breath. Because you don't need a lot of air for those high notes. It's actually less air, right? Okay, here we go. Same thing last time. Breathe. There you go. Great. Thank you so much. Okay, here you go.
Hello, I am Joseph Richwine. I will be singing Bella si come un angelo from Don Pasquale by Donizetti. Bella si come un angelo in terra pellegrino, fresca si come il giglio che s'ha preso un mattino.
Very nice, very nice. I think that I asked him earlier, I said, are you nervous? He's like, no, a little bit. I was like, don't be, it's gonna be fine. This is a great aria. You're the perfect voice for it. You know, again, like I just want to, I'm not asking people to just sing loud, right? My voice is loud, but it's not about being loud. It's just what it is. I'm also 42. You know, I'm considerably older than you are, I know. You know what I mean? So it's like when I was 22, it didn't sound like that, right? It doesn't sound like it sounds now. But what I do think we can do is just like, you know, you look like you maybe have been on a sailboat once or twice in your life. It's the idea that the sail opens up, right? And that it goes, and like that we get that just, there's enough air to fill the sail, right? Right now I feel like it's only like halfway. And we want to get the whole thing, bella siccome un angelo. Just speak it and just see what it feels like to take in a breath and just have it come there. It's not about being like this, which is like me trying to be loud. What I'm trying to do is just let it be like, oh, it's really open and I'm just letting the air come through here. And actually the air is whipping my chords together. Just say, bella siccome un angelo.
Bella siccome un angelo.
I promise you we'd rather hear you sing it like that than the other one. Which is just, is just like I said, half mass. Okay. We don't want that. Just try bella, bella. There we go.
Bella siccome un angelo.
Keep going. Yeah, I would take that breath. Or you want to carry that one over? I don't know that you gain anything by carrying it over, right? Because everybody's just used to hear people breathe. Okay. But it did sound like, oh, we didn't get as much beautiful sound as we got in the first one. Let's do that again. Great. Just something that will help. Bella, bella means beautiful, right? So we want bella. It's got to have a little bit of that, right? Here we go. Beautiful. Breathe. Fresca. Great, it's really, I mean, right? Without a doubt. You see all those heads? Absolutely. Do it like that, right? For your oo vowel, and this is tricky, right? Because we don't usually have such a pure oo in English that I can think of if somebody can correct me. But it's like literally what an owl, and the thing is because we Americans tend to go sul. And yours, although it's a very beautiful sound, now that we've gotten your voice opened up, it no longer matches. Okay. So if we could do que sul, no, I just did it fake, but I mean, you know what I'm saying, right? Que sapre sul, let's find a real oo. Que sapre sul. Better, but that's again a half, it's like half of the sail, okay. Right? It's not the most beautiful I've ever sung, but you get the idea, right? Yeah. Instead of sol, just going right on the oo. Sol, and then bring it back. Beautiful. If you couldn't do that, then I'd say it was too much. But you just proved that we're right about this. So let's go K, and we go on. I know we do, you know, the dental consonants in Italian, right? But you can actually do cor. cor. You don't have to do cor.
Okay.
I mean, it's a slight little difference. And I'll tell you, even when I've sung in Italy, when you're speaking at the table, they don't want to hear it. But in the theater, they're like, what are you saying? We don't know what you're saying, right? And so, I mean, they all know the words to this piece. But you know what I'm saying. You can really go to ko. And what it is about is it serves two purposes, right? The diction is clear, but also the air gets it out in front of the vowel to get cor. You can do the same thing with the P of parla, right? O che parla. You don't have to go barra, because also it gets a little bit, oh, is it voice, is it not voice? I don't know, it was so fast I couldn't hear it. Just do occhio che parla ride. Go back to the beginning of, sorry my dear. Right there. Oh, it's got an accent, so to give it to it. But yeah, but don't. Yeah, I love it, right? You were like over eager to do it, but you can't collapse on it. So you went, occhio che par. I went, occhio che pa. So that the lips come together with the ah behind it. Do that pa, and find your ah. Like imagine you're just going ah, and you'll feel where, oh, that's how much air I need. Try it. Ah, and then pa. Yeah. So if you use that same kind of one, try it real quick before you forget what it feels like. Okay, pa. Yes. Go on. Do you like that?
Yeah.
Do we like that? Yeah, right? Do you understand? Like I know it's hard when you're on the spot and I'm just telling you what to do and you're just doing it, right? But what we're doing is we're getting you to keep your resonance passages in the same like kind of ratio, right? Things are not getting closed when you have to do a consonant. We're keeping them like kind of, again, full sail, right? Or parasail behind the boat, going at the same speed. You know, and as the note has to go higher, the boat has to go faster so that the parasail goes up, right? It's all these kinds of imageries that just help to keep and kind of us tricking our anatomy into doing what we wanted to do to kind of stay in the same place. More of a trombone than a trumpet, right? Trumpet, you're changing what's going on. Unless you're talking about a bass trombone, you really, the embouchure, not the embouchure, but the kind of like size of the tube stays the same throughout the whole thing. It just gets longer, and that's the stretch, right? And the chord stretch. So good. Can we go to the middle section? We can skip all this. Maybe something like that. Alma. Sing through all that good stuff. Good breath, buddy. You, not by putting you on the spot, but it's the same part as that sul, but you've got a scale going up there, right? So if we applied the same way to fix the sul on this veen, how can we make the veen more like the sul, right? How can we get that E vowel, which tends to want to be tight, into like a oo space, right? If we keep our jaw maybe a little bit lower, round that E vowel so that it's not E like Y, but E. Just find an E vowel on V. What's the A flat? V. Something like that. V. Yes. And that one has the space that you can then go V up to the F, right? Let's try that. Out of tempo. Just make sure that you've got an E vowel on each note that you feel doesn't get spread or tight. It's better, for sure. Just go slower. Just go slower so that you're not glossing over one and, oh, that got tight, oh, that one got tighter. You like that?
Yeah.
All you're doing is giving it more space. More vertical space as opposed to horizontal space. Can we try that? Good, go on. And bring it back. So good, buddy. Right, so stop here. Just because these notes are fast, you have to have the same integrity for each vowel. Just like, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I was like, okay, well, if he doesn't get it this way, then you just nailed it. Like, you've done everything that I've asked you to do better than I hoped you were going to do it, right? So now, knowing that this part is hard, why is it hard? The notes are faster, there's more things to get in there, but also we know that this stuff is coming down here, right? So if we get caught up or tongue-tied in this stuff and we're not having like real, if it's good, when you want to go to a high note, your sail is like halfway, right? It's nowhere where we want it to be. So you've got the tremolo here, and let's just say il ce l'ha fatta nascere. La fatta, yeah. But like you're doing it for the stage, right? Don't be right from fatta, right? Just the past to have. Go ahead. Per far beatum cor. Same thing one more time, knowing that you're going up. Per far beatum, like that.
Per far beatum cor.
Yes. Let's see if we can sing that with that same declamatory clarity of the vowels and the consonants. This is really school. Good breath. Good. Go on. Now be ready to do this full sail. Imagine it. Up, high, low, good breath, and go. I mean, listen, I feel like we didn't do that much because, like, again, you just did it so easily, but, like, I don't know what to say. If I can say something like, think high and low and full sail and take a good breath, and that's all it takes, that's the easiest voice lesson I've ever given in my life. You understand? So really, do that. If there's two or three, one or two things that you can think, just think that you've got the air, and that's your sail, and that it's really tall, and that gives us a full beauty of the sound that you have. How old are you?
I'm 20.
Yeah, I mean, come on. It's like, there are lots of 20-year-old baritones who wish that they could have that full beauty of sound. And I think you had come from a musical theater background, and so the beauty that you have, I mean, you obviously just is produced well. Just don't be apologetic about it, okay? Congrats, buddy. Yeah. touching when you hear somebody sing, and the ornaments are gorgeous. I don't know if you guys came out how this worked out, but they're beautiful. They're really, really beautiful. We could do just a little bit on the recit, but really I just want to get, it's really just things, again, to encourage you to sing into the middle, because then the middle matches the beautiful top that we hear later. Otherwise, we're like, why is she half singing, right? You know what I mean? Not half singing like it's under energies, but it's just, we just don't get the same color. It's not about volume, it's about color and beauty, and when the air gets moving on the top, which of course it has to, we then get so, I mean, listen, for a long time my singing was like this. People were like, oh, it's all top, oh, it's impressive, but it gets old after like 5 minutes. Fine, you know, I wasn't purposefully trying to do it that way, it's just the way my voice was built. But I had to learn how to let the air flow through the middle without getting like this, right? That's loud, that's harsh. The other one is just like, oh, it's soft, but it's like voluminous, right? Can we get, now listen, this recit has to be spoken in a declamatory way, right? But it does not have to be rushed. So although you want it to be blah, 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 don't feel like you have to rush the rests in order, because then we feel frantic. And I know it's a little bit kind of like this. I love this middle part where she says she's going to be a ghost and come back to haunt, and the tyranny and night and day. I mean, it's awesome. I really love this piece. So let's start right here. E per così un giorno. Just speak it, actually. Just like to declaim it. E pur così un giorno. Like that.
E pur così un giorno.
But don't sneak in. E pur così. No. E pur così un giorno. Right?
E pur così un giorno. Perdo fasti e grandezze.
Double that. Grandezze.
Grandezze.
There you go.
Hai fatto Rio. Cesare.
That's the name. Good.
Il mio bel nome.
Mio bel nome.
Il mio bel nome.
Yeah, because il mio bel nome, it's not just a God, it's a beautiful, handsome God, right? So you have to go through, in doing these kind of recity things, we have to go and almost underline which one are we going to stress, because if we stress them all, then nothing is stressed, right? So let's go Cesare, il mio bel nome.
Cesare, il mio bel nome.
Good.
È forse estinto.
Good.
Cornelia e Sesto inermi son. Ne sanno darmi soccorso.
Ne sanno darmi soccorso. Try it, because there's a lot to double in there, right? Sanno darmi soccorso, which means help. And so you got to have the soccorso.
Ne sanno darmi soccorso.
Yeah, and you can, like I said earlier, you can soccorso.
Soccorso.
Yeah, even more. You think you're doing it enough, but you could do a little bit more.
Soccorso.
Anyway, you've got the idea. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Let's sing it like this, yeah? And it's here if you need it. But just, I know sometimes when I ask you to do something, when I ask anybody to do something, it's a little bit like, oh, so if you need it, it's there. But that's beautiful. Let's go. The change of the harmony there. Mio bel nome. It gives it, that's so Italian, right? One more time. Just do it without any hesitation or apology. Mio bel nome. Yeah. Yeah, come on, that's music. And it's not just, oh God. In this, you can hear it, the minor, oh God, why, you know? It's with the hope of my life, you know what I mean? Can we go right on? Oh Dio. Let me show you what I want. Oh Dio. You hear the, it's okay to give it there because you're like, it's like, God, you know what I mean? That's what we need, the pleading. You feel the heartbreak in that? And what are we going to say? You're going to piangerò. And that piangerò, right? The accent's going like that, so you keep it open. You have a very beautiful color there, but it actually will help you up, because when you open the vowel up a little bit and it's time to go up, especially on the second time when you've got these beautiful ornaments that go up, piangerò, we don't want piangerò. Somewhere, that's too far, right?
Yeah.
Let's just find something that's kind of a little more neutral. Oh. Like amore, right? Like to say love, yeah. Good. Do you like that?
It feels so open.
Do you think it's too open? I mean, I don't want to...
It's great. I love the suggestion.
I mean, anybody say that I'm wrong on that? Accent the opposite way? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Piangerò, and like, oh my God. It was so gorgeous when you went piangerò, so I was like, oh, my faith, you know what I mean? Let's go on from C. Oh, can we find an E vowel on the C that has space for the air to go through it? Instead of C, now I'm singing beautifully.
Right.
C, right? C, then you don't have to do anything because you've already started that way. C. No, can you do better? I tell you what, let's do it backwards. C. You like that? What don't you like? No, tell me, what don't you like about it? What don't you like about it?
It's just a very, I gotta dip a little more into chest voice, I think, a little bit.
I'm not so, it's not about registration for me, right? Like, I don't think you should have to go, no. I really just want the space of that, because the other one's just not vibrating enough. Sure. We don't hear it. Sure. We hear, crude. One more time, just go, si, crude. And you've got to, no, there's no comma there, that's just a little mark on the page. But si, cruda. Try comfortable with that, that's just one note higher, one whole step higher on the V. Then you don't have to modify the V. You can go V. Oh, give me an F sharp. V. Instead of going V. Of course, you're going to get more sound if you go from an E to a but if you get a taller E, there, you don't have to make such a drastic, because the Handelian people who like this stuff are very particular. They don't want too much of that, right? Can we go finché vi? I mean, for sure, I think in the back of the room, that sounds more uniform, right? In the front row, they're both pretty good, right? The other one, just like in the hall, I think has a little bit more. Let's go on piangerò. Good. Can you try my little trick of having the L with the A behind it? Just because you've got that hard jump there, right? Piangerò, la. If I were going to practice this, I go, where's the A? Piangerò, because then all you have to do is go la, let the tongue go down, and you've already got the A there, right? Just try that like out of tempo. Piangere la. I can't sing with this damn mask on. It's killing me. Yeah, but you try it one more time with the just hold the L for a little bit and then let the ah come in behind it. Or go ah la. You see how hard it is? Because you want to grab it, right? We all want to grab those L's and help them. But we don't really. Because the one time that you did it kind of by accident, we got bam. It's just like really sparkly. Right? One more time. Wow. Play with that and see. Keep going. Same thing on the end, right? Tan, not tan. You hear how the vibrato comes when you've got the ah behind it, right?
Yes.
So go e tantoria. Good. Good. And now all this, breathe once and then out. Now. And that's our same trick there, right? Finke. If you can go finke. And also it helps the legato. It helps the, you know what I mean? Just try it. You're doing great, by the way. You're really doing beautifully. You can do better. You can do better. Try it again. It's hard because it's got E by it, right? Finke. You can do it though.
Oh, it's like
Tricky, right?
Do this.
Well,
You know what I mean?
nobody said this was easy. They might say it's simple, but it's actually not simple. It's really, it's like an illusion, right? Of keeping things open and the same. One more time. And if it helps you, go finke. Slide up there just to keep your throat neutral. I mean, that sound is like, almost sounds like a different singer. It's got so much color. And like, it doesn't have to be like that because that can be like, you know, but you are saying at least, right? So you can give us a little bit of bleeding heart here, right? Do it and we go on because there's lots of other good stuff to do here too. Same thing even down here. This will just help the air flow through all this and get it out. Don't neglect that from air, right? Don't starve it for air. You can go petto because the accent again is there, right? Avro, and then pull it back. Right? We always want, if you're going to pull back the dynamic like we did over here, you want to hear it and then pull it back. If you pull it back, we feel like you're running out of breath. And that's not the case, right? All right, let's go on to this, and we're going to go back and touch some of these the second time.
Okay.
Ma boy, but then, right? So you got to change not just as you did, but you have to change the way you're talking. Because you've been so piangere all my life, but then I'm going to come back and I'm going to haunt your, yes, you know what I mean? Yeah, I love it. So you got to give us that as well.
Yes,
And one. Okay, I want to make sure that in doing that I don't mislead you or like, yeah, exactly, right? Because when Italians get loud, they get really long vowels like this, like a, they don't get like, That's an American thing, right? That's how we talk, or like maybe Germans. But they just get really like in your face, kind of like loud vowels. So you want this is like, it's not as good as the other way, right? You hear it doesn't have the same like, I'm gonna come and get you, right? That's what we want. Try it that way. Even a little bit under tempo, just to give time for each vowel to ring. And like one, good breath. Good breath, come on. All right, great. We're not going to get into this slow. But I just wanted that same idea. Ma poi morta ogni giorno il tiranno e notte giorno. Because when you go long like that, when you double it, it's like, what happened? What? Right. No, night and day I'm going to haunt your butt, you know? Right. Okay, so let's do it. Let's go back to tempo, right? Keep it long. Stretch it. Okay. Good, beautiful. I love what you got there. Is it possible for you to sing the coloratura all closer to that level of like juiciness, rather than like, I'm going to go back and do a Cecilia Bartoli, like, can you still feed it, right? I mean, she's a lovely person, but if you've ever seen her in the room when you do it, it's like, you're like, what is this going on here? You know what I mean? I'm serious. Maybe I'm too honest, but that's just the truth. Okay. Can we go back and try that agite? Just the same, like what we worked on in this, right? Just keeping that energy there with real breath energy.
Right. Sorry.
That's okay. She'll just do that and then you come in. Good. See, that makes me feel like you're going to come haunt me. Right? Like, I want to hear that fire. I love it. And then also fata. Don't be afraid of using that, especially up there on that G sharp to get the breath going. Can we do it one more time? Same thing, and even more. You know what I mean? You can't just go. It's not scary. It's not scary. Come on, scare us with the other stuff.
Okay.
Oh, God. 2, 4. Yes. Listen how scary this is. Awesome. And then you can dial it back, right? And don't be afraid of this word tyrant, right? Yeah. Tiranno. I mean, that's not like a bad guy. That's like a really, really bad guy. Oh, yeah. Right? So you want to be tiranno. It's like, you know what I mean? So don't shy away from it. And then agitero, which actually you do beautifully as far as musically, and just put a little bit of attention with the slowing down. Because you're like, I'm going Yes, exactly, right? Can we get in from fatas, or wherever? Yes. Okay. Great. Continue. That's too much? Because I don't. I love that.
I like it too.
Yeah? Great. All right, let's go back and do this piano with some beautiful ornaments, and then we'll do Q&A. I love these ornaments. I want to hear them again, even if I don't stop you for anything. No, I'm gonna make you open that up, because you're singing it more difficultly this time. So piangero. You know, like amore. Not amore, amore. Amour, French, amore. You know what I mean? It's like a really almost
Yeah.
but it's not quite. The lips do a little bit more in an open O than they would in just a regular Go ahead. It's so good. No, that was so good. But you really, when you hear the open and you sustain that through this, like the dissonance of the stepwise motion down there. I mean, that you hear you hear it. One more time, just a second. Piangero la sol. Yeah. Crescendo. It's my fault. Remember, good C, E, E, tall. Now, it made a big difference on that one, right? When you picked a taller V, because it was so much easier to go up. You didn't have to go V. No, you didn't have to do it because you were already closer, right? The other way is not wrong. It's just this way is a little bit truer to the text. And it doesn't sound so modified.
Sure.
Right? I love that. Let's go on. Piangero. Goosebumps. I'm sure I'm not the only one. When you do, it's that free kind of like whistly kind of like, I don't know, just magical timbre that happens when we get on our air.
Right.
That where it just becomes like, I mean, even just thinking about the sound, my hair start to stand up, right? Can we go from, well, I don't know. I would love to hear you do that Si cruda, because it was so good, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah. Actually fin, right? Instead of, you did a little fin K, and fin K. It helps you to get up there, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. I mean, we got the time. We still got 20 minutes, and I'm trying, you know what I mean? Like, I could listen to you sing all day, really. Really, fin K. Try that right on that. easier for you?
I don't know.
Well, you've only got some of the, oh shoot.
Right here.
Yes. So you say, fique vita, breathe, impecto abro, I would say, right? You think? Let's try fique vita. Are we convinced about that? You know exactly what do you know what she's doing? I'm not super duper convinced. But what's the?
I don't have to do the ornaments.
No, I like the ornaments. I just want to make sure. Ba 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 ba. Right? Okay. Just don't gloss over them, right? Make sure that because it's a downbeat, even though, and because particularly it's a downbeat that's got held from the from the eighth before it, we need to hear at least that so we know when to go chick. You know, because just one more time. Yes.
I was saying she should say ha sooner, take a breath, and then.
Maybe, I gotta be honest, I'm not exactly sure. It's a lovely ornament. I'm just not sure how to break it up.
I thought that's what you were saying. She was misunderstanding.
No. I just think that you should go VKV. Or is it on the een? Right. Maybe that's actually it. To do the ta like Dr. Price just said, and then come down on e. So it's a little bit different than what we got here, but. Yes, precisely. That makes 100% sense to us. So if you do the een on the 16th notes instead of the ta ha 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 impecto. Perfect. No, I love that. I think it's great. Thank you so much. Really. Okay, so we have 15 minutes. We don't need, if there's anything that anybody wants to talk about, we had a class on the business of opera and singing and doing all this kind of stuff. If there's anything that could be helpful to you guys as far as what, I don't know, you could ask me or... Yes, ma'am.
When we talked last week
Indeed.
about the business of opera,
Yes.
you mentioned something about when you hear something you like to send like a YouTube channel to an agent that you know potentially.
Uh-huh.
So for us,
Yeah.
in the future, not right now.
Sure.
But like in the future, how important is it to have like an active source of where your videos are?
Here's what I would say to this, right? I would say that it is important.
Yeah.
I would say that it's really important to curate it, right? And I don't mean have somebody else do it. I just mean that you're really on top of what is out there. Because if, say, you send in your stuff to, let's say, Marilla, okay? And you send it in there and your recordings are really, really great that you send in for the thing. But say you've got something from 2 or 3 years ago on there and they go and they hear something and they're like, oh, I'm going to Google this person and see what else they've done, blah, blah, blah. People Google everything, right? And so you just want to make sure that if you put up, something and you leave it up there, that it's of a level that you and your teacher feel are both representative of where you are and of the caliber of companies and programs you're auditioning for. And I think to answer your question, it's very important. And send it to all your friends and send it to your parents and tell them to send it to their friends, because if they see something with like 300, 500 views, they'll love it. If they see something with 20, they're going to be like, huh. I hate to say that. It's not my rule. I'm not the one who made it this way, but people do look at those kinds of things, just like they look at fans and likes and all that kind of stuff, unfortunately. But this is the way it's taken us. So, yeah. Anything else? Any other ideas? Yes.
Having the balance of work life
Yeah.
and also practicing every day and
Sure.
trying to promote yourself in this kind of industry.
Mm-hmm.
I work full time
Right.
and am doing this part time.
Right.
How do you find that balance of supporting yourself while still doing gigs and trying to get
Do you mean
yourself
supporting
out there?
yourself like financially?
Absolutely.
Right. It's tricky. There is no harder time than bridging the gap between when you're in school and when you're trying to make it like out into where you're paying all your bills or even some of your bills with that kind of stuff. And what I would say is that, you know, we were talking about this before. People used to say if you had a side hustle, you know, there's some kind of like shame in that. There's none. Everybody's got a side hustle now, no matter who you are, you know. And so I think having something like a full-time job, although it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of energy and it takes all this kind of stuff, it also takes off some pressure of feeling like I've got to sing that church job. I've got to sing this. I've got to do that. And like, you know, I remember I'm somebody who really can get weighed down, like into the mud with pressure. So I have had to figure out ways to take that pressure off of me, especially, you know, there was a time when I was at AVA where the pressure would really get to me, and then I had to do like tons and tons of auditions to where I think I did 50 or something my last year that I was there, between competitions, programs, and like job stuff. And when you do 50, you're like, well, each one doesn't have this, you know, huge weight that can kind of become an albatross under you if there. So I think in the same way that, like, you know, just knowing that, okay, you've got this, but trying to carve out enough time to, one, you practice when you're fresh, right? When your voice is fresh, when your energy is fresh. Depending on what the job is, I mean, if you're doing something like bartending or waiting table, it's very vocal heavy, you know? So, I mean, sometimes we just have to do the best we can. And I think it's about getting the best that you can to be up to a level that's high enough to where you can start breaking in and chipping away at those things, you know. So that's what I would say. But don't feel bad about, you know, if anything, look at it as an asset. I would say even the bad things, look at them as assets, because in a way they are going to be assets, even if it doesn't seem right off the bat that that's going to be like, oh, this is the best thing. Oh, I didn't get into that. Oh, well, you never know. That might have freed you up to be able to do something else that you just don't know at the time. Either way, looking at it as something bad is just going to have this negative loop that's just can very easily, for singers who are already very sensitive people, to just spiral down to a place that you don't need nor deserve to go, you know. Okay. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Just wondering, other than obviously singing super well, is there any other sort of personality trait or characteristic that you see in people who have had a really successful career?
Yeah.
Something we can cultivate.
I would say that in general, it's that sense of playfulness and fun. They all, like, Anna Netrebko is one of the craziest, most fun people you ever. I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe to doing vodka shots at intermission, but I've seen her do it, you know. Again, maybe a little bit too informal here, but that doesn't mean, listen, she's Russian, okay? It's not like that's just what they do. I'm dead serious. I've been in Russia, and they really tried to get me to drink before. I was like, really, no, I will drink with you after, but I cannot do it right now. Like, it's gonna make me so nervous. But no, to answer your question, it's really just about having fun and knowing that, like, you know, if we get out there and we see like a pop singer or somebody, and just really like, even if it's like something on The Voice, and they're just really having a good time and getting into it, there is no reason that this music cannot be like that. Because at one time it was seen like that. And maybe because we have, you know, a hurdle of the style, or we have a hurdle of the language, or some other things, that doesn't mean that we can't, especially if we're the one doing the performing, we can't be the one to get over it. You know, it's unfortunate that we have to do this stuff with masks right now, because you're cutting off, you know, 2/3 of the expression, which means that if you're going to have to do this, you've got to be overly expressive with your eyes, almost ridiculous, just like you thought it was too much. Oh, it's too open. Oh, is that too much of a cup? Whatever. No, it's not. Let us tell you that it's too much. You know, because we all come to hear singing to be moved, I think, pretty sure that that's what it is, right? To feel something, to hear something beautiful, to enjoy, to appreciate other people's talent, to, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I would say let that fun kind of, you know, people say, oh, it's an X factor, it's a charisma thing, it can't be taught. I don't know if it can be taught, but I think we all have it in there. I mean, I've seen so many with my own children and other people's children and babies and stuff. They're having fun. They're like living life. Life beats it out of us. We need to find it back. Like, we need to reclaim that. and realize that really there's a lot of, and especially if we're making music. You know, when I was in high school, I went to an arts high school, and there were jazz guys that were there, and like, these guys, I mean, jazz is fun, right? If you like jazz, I mean, it's like, it's toe tapping, it's fun stuff. There's a lot of like heart and soul that goes into it. It's very immediately kind of like, oh yeah, this is great stuff. Well, this is too, it's just a different style. It's like, that's like, you know, a certain type of cuisine. This is a certain type of cuisine. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, they're all great. Just what are you in the mood for? Am I in the mood to listen to jazz? Am I in the mood to listen to opera? Am I in the mood to listen to art song? Or am I in the mood to listen to pop or rock or whatever? You know, you don't have to love or hate one in order to love another. Just like if you've got 2 kids or 5 kids or 10 kids, you love your kids, right? You know, this is how it goes. So yeah, that's what I think. Just really nurturing that kind of X factor that I think we all do have, that comes from a source of confidence and freedom, yeah, to be who you are. And thankfully, our culture is helping people be free to be who they are right now after decades and centuries of people not being able to do that. Anything else? Yeah.
So I just have a question, because like I'm on the edge of like getting ready for grad school, but
Sure.
also looking at a career in the future and kind of setting up this like 10-year plan.
Right.
How do you balance having a career but also a family? Because
Sure.
that is a very important goal of mine.
Yeah.
But also I know like having a career is a big commitment.
Absolutely. Well, I would say this. 10-year plan is very hard to stick to.
Of course, of course.
A 5-year plan is still very hard to stick to if you're not like in the structures of, I would say, you know, knowing that you're going to be in school for 5 years for that instance. I think that it's very important for each of us to know what our end game is going to be. What do we need to do with our talent of singing for us to feel that, 1, we're fulfilled in doing it, 2, that we're joyful, and 3, you know, there are these extraneous factors of like, what are my mom going to think, or my dad, or what are my friends going to think, or what are my colleagues going to think? That tends to be the least important one of those, right? Because no matter what you do, they're always going to probably think, oh, you should have did better, you should have done this. Or they're going to love you no matter what, right? Those are the 2 opposite ends of the spectrum. I think that whether I sing in my living room or somebody else's living room or here or at church or at a funeral or a wedding or the stage of this opera house or whatever, I'm still doing it because I want to sing, I like singing, people are asking me to do it usually, right? Otherwise, I'm just going to sing in my own living room and have fun, and that's great, and nobody's going to write about it anywhere, nobody's going to record it, they're not going to post it anywhere, it's just going to be fun, right? Because that's why I got into this, because it was fun, and I was told I had a talent that I should develop. And so I think that, you know, having the career, I mean, it's so tricky. I mean, there are different levels of having a career. Somebody last week asked, I think, you know, how do you know you've made it? Well, you never really finish making it, because just when you think you've gotten there, somebody said, what did they say? Like, new level, new devil kind of thing. It's like every time that you get to a certain point, you're like, oh, I've sung at the Met. Oh, well, now you get, how many times are you getting asked back? Oh, well, how many times are you singing there per season? Where else are you singing? Have you been on the cover of Opera News? Have you been on the cover of the ones in Europe? Do you have a recording contract? Are they planning, you know what I mean? It's like, it's endless, it's exhausting. It's like, I'm just trying to do the best I can, right? But your managers and people like this are constantly doing that. So like, that's again, another end of the spectrum. But I think for you, you know, if you want to really, you said you're getting ready for grad school, like to apply to grad schools, right? Well, I would say get, you know, 4 or 5 or however many you feel like you want to apply to, you know, some safeties, some mediums, and some stretches, and then balance it towards what you think you can afford. I would not take out tens or even hundreds of thousands, please, for loans. It's just not, unfortunately, the world cannot sustain paying that back and living your life, right? I mean, it's like buying a house. But you don't have a house, and you need a house, right? We all need houses and stuff to do this. So it's not, you know, you weigh it against what you're going to get out of it. I think the teacher is more important, and what comes out of your mouth is more important than the name on the top of the degree. But that has, you know, just the degree itself is important, right? And I would encourage everybody to have a master's to do that, even if you're not going to do music, or even if you're only going to do music part-time. So yeah, and balancing your life, listen, when you find like a partner or a spouse, or even if you're not going to get married, this person has to want the career for you almost as much, if not more, than you want it for yourself. Because if they're not a musician, they're not going to understand the sacrifice of what it takes in order to do this. If they are a musician, it's going to be tricky because they've got their own aspirations. So that's a huge can of worms that I'm not going to touch anymore, other than saying that, you know what, support everybody who you're with and support yourself and do the best that you can, and don't hold anybody back and don't do that kind of stuff, because it's just going to come back to bite you. Is that it? I think we're almost there. We got 4 minutes. I don't know if anybody has any other questions, but I've really enjoyed this last week and this week being with you guys. Everybody sung beautifully. It's a beautiful space. Dr. Price, I cannot thank you enough. Really, Susan, thank you. Beautiful place.
Thank you.
For making this happen. And all my people in the back, thank you guys.
There's two simple things. Thank you, Provost Christine. I know you got in a little bit later, but I wanted to recognize your presence among us.
Thank you so much.
Supporting this.
Thank you for inviting me. I truly enjoyed this.
Oh.
What a wonderful way to end a very long day full of meetings. And hear some beautiful music.
Yeah.
It really lifted my soul and my heart. So thank you for inviting me, and I hope I can come back again.
Please do. And thank you again.
Yes,
And
my
one more
pleasure.
round of applause. And
great job, guys. How are you feeling? Oh, I'm sorry that it didn't work out. Next time. You don't sound too bad.